I've been teaching this blueprint to a lot of the clients I work with one-on-one, and it's so apropos. I get a text message right before I get in here, and this is somebody we've had one call together where we went through just the basic of this framework. And she was like, "Oh my God, I just got my first call from a reel I did about blah 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 that we talked about from Instagram." This is somebody who had no clue what she was doing for a while. She has had her most quote unquote locally viral reel, and we'll talk more about viral here later. And she got her first, somebody booked an appointment on Calendly to have a phone call with her, right? I got a message yesterday for somebody who was like, "Oh my God, I just started this process and I've already picked up two clients, a buyer and a seller." Okay. Now, what I'm going to go through, this is my 4C social media blueprint for lead generation. Okay. The first C in this is clients. Okay. We have to identify who we're working with. And where I think most people go wrong is they don't go into detail enough. And there's really only two types of people in this world and two types of people in your business. There's people that you know and there's people that you don't know. There is no other category. You either know them or you don't know them. Okay. So you need to ask yourself, who are these people? Where do they live? Where do they work? What's their family situation? Where are they moving to or want to live? What neighborhood is that in? What house type is that? How much is that house? How are they going to pay for it? What's their lifestyle like? What do they care about? What's most important to them? What are they interested in? What you're doing here is you're building a profile. You're building a profile around this person, and this makes figuring out what the next C in this framework is so much easier. So let me give you an example, right? Not knowingly, I went through this process myself 5 or 6 years ago when I really started making a lot of content and leaning into building an attraction-based business. And I had to identify, like, who are these people I actually want to work with? And most people are like, who do you want to work with? They'll say, first-time buyers. That's not enough information. Or they'll say, I want people selling a house and buying another house. That is such a broad thing. Or people, anybody relocating to my area. That's also a wrong answer. You need to go ultra specific. So I'll give you my personal example is I wanted to work with people who already lived in the suburb that I live in. So I live in a suburb outside of Raleigh, North Carolina. My suburb at the time had about 45,000 people. It's approaching 60,000 people now. I was like, all right, they have to live in the suburb that I'm already in. They are a married family. They have a couple kids. Their kids are anywhere from a year old to somewhere in middle school. The husband probably works over in RTP or works remotely. RTP is like a big like research triangle place, which means they are high income earners. They're going to be making between $200,000 and $400,000 as income as a family for single family. And they already own a house and they want to upgrade to their next house. They're likely want to do new construction, but new construction is limited based on the schools that they want to be in. And there's really only two elementary and middle schools that these families want to be zoned for. They also love spending time outside. They love going to breweries, and they're always looking for things to do with their kids. Raise your hand if you have built an ideal client profile that detailed. Anybody? No. Right? One, I got one hand that's like this, right? I saw somebody do this. So like kind of, right? So when you go into that level of detail, that is going to open up exactly what content to make and how you're going to talk to these people. Okay? Because the problem most people make is the content they make is way too broad. Okay? So the more detailed you get on your client, the clearer everything else is going to be. Building this profile, and I highly recommend all of the questions that I just went through. You need to ask yourself and you need to write it down. Okay. This is also great information to have to insert into ChatGPT later because that can help you build out some of your content. But knowing all this very specific information is going to be super important for the next C. Okay. So that was C number one. That's clients. C number two is content.
By the way, if you did not download the ChatGPT course that we did a playbook on it. The ChatGPT was by far the most downloaded book that I've had. I gave exactly what he did to my VA, and my VA created immediately 30 posts that are now going out on Google Business, and they all are fantastic. So I'll put that in a link in a minute, but go ahead. Sorry. I'm just
Okay.
gonna keep cutting you off because I love you, man. So sorry.
Yeah, that's good. You're all good, man. You're all good. And yeah, if hey, by the way, as I'm going through it, I don't have any slides to share. I just wanted to talk to you today, like one on one. And like if you have a question, like do like the hand raising question thing and like Jeremy monitor that. If you guys have questions as I'm going through this and you want more detail, more specifics, just have general question, I'm happy to like stop and answer questions as I go. I hate the thing where people are like, don't ask anything till the end. Well, if you got a burning question, just freaking ask the question. Cool. We good with that? All right. So the next C is content. And I have a big esoteric question that I want you to sit on just for a second. I'm going to ask it, and then I don't want you to blurt out anything. I don't go with the first thing that comes to your mind. Just I want you to sit for about 30 seconds in silence, right? Going after we just talked about clients, right? And everything you need to think about when you're building out a client profile, right? And we haven't talked about content. Yeah, we haven't talked about what we're making, and we haven't even really said social media, right? It's because we're focused on who we're working with first. So here's the big question. What do you want to be known for? What do you want to be known for? And I literally, I'm going to stop talking and I want you guys to think about that for like 30 seconds. What do you want to be known for? Think about it. In your business, when people say, hey, that's Bill Olson, this is everything about Bill Olson, or this is Jeremy Knight, or this is the big man. Like, what's the first thought that's going to come to their head? If the first thought that comes to their head is like, oh, they're a real estate agent, you're not known for anything. Oh, they're a realtor. You're not known for anything. You have to decide what you want to be known for. And that's the big esoteric question of content, right? So the next part of that is you're not going to have the answer for that right now, but you might have it by the end of the next like 5 to 10 minutes. So how findable are you? If somebody was going to look up you, one, you have to be known for something, and two, how findable are you? Which means every profile you have online needs to be optimized and they need to match. Are you the same person on Instagram as you are YouTube, as you are LinkedIn, as you are if you're on TikTok or Snapchat or Facebook? Are you the same person? If I go to each one, I'm gonna be like, yeah, that's the same person. Like that's the same vibe, right? I don't care if your profile picture is the same. That's stupid. But is it the same vibe? Are you saying you do the same things? Is your tone the same? Who are you on each one of those platforms? And do they match across that? Right. And then like, what's your vibe? Like, what's your style? Right? How findable are you? And what do you want to be known for? So early on in my career, I knew I didn't want to just be a stuffy agent. I used to have really long hair down to my waist, and it was kind of dready. Yeah, 40-year-old white guy with dreads. I mean, I was like prototypical one of those guys that goes to App State University. If you know anything about North Carolina, it's like the hippie school. And yes, I went to school there. But when I got into real estate, I cut my hair. I feel like I lost a little bit of my soul, right? Because I was like, oh, that's what I have to be. And then like 6 months in, I was like, I can't be this guy. Like, that's just not me. And so my tagline on everything I did for a while was like, realtor and a good dude. My email tagline, my social media, it said, what was my job? Realtor and a good dude, realtor and a good dude. It was in my email, even submitting offers for people and reaching out to clients for the first time. And then that just became like my persona. And then my clients loved it. And like when I would look at my like online reviews after be working with them, like, he is such a good dude. And that's all I wanted to be known as was a good dude, right? Because there's so many douchebags and assholes in this business, right? Right. I don't think any of them are on this call, right? But there's a lot of those people in this business. So it's like, that's what I want my vibe and style to be, right? Like I'm going to be skateboarding as I'm doing my content. I'm going to wear tank tops and show off my tattoos, right? I'm going to be in Birkenstocks when I go meet with clients. It's like, that's my vibe and that's my style. You have to decide who that is for you. And that is part of your content strategy is who you are. Like Jeremy is now part of the Real Luxury Group, right, Jeremy? You just joined that up and
Yeah.
you got new headshots, right? It looks
Yeah.
like you're a luxury agent and you make sourdough bread now, right?
I did that because Ray Allen always does those like funny like shots where he's like reading something,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
that
yeah, yeah.
book was
I
literally
know.
on their thing. I'm like, we have to do this.
Yeah, no, that was great. No, but think about it. Like some of your content recently, like go into the Porsche track and like some of the stuff you're showing off and the houses you're showing off. And like it's starting to say, okay, yeah, I associate Jeremy with luxury now, even though it's just over the past, 6 weeks that I've seen this shift that Jeremy's made of doing more of that style of content. Now I'm starting to associate, okay, YouTube and luxury with Jeremy. So what do you want to be known for? Like those things are the top two things that come to my head right now because that's what he is portraying in his content, right? And then as you're developing your content strategy, right, you have to decide what content you're making, right? Like what's the style? Are you going to do short versus long stuff? Is it going to be more professional and high end? Is it going to be edgy and funny? What's the mix? Okay. Now, the question I get all the time is what's really working right now with content strategy? And big shocker, video is king.